Power Rangers Super Megaforce was supposed to be the 20th anniversary that culminated a 20-year franchise. Did it deliver? Does it hold up? And what do I think of it? My name is Red Ranger Ryder, and this is my review of Power Rangers Super Megaforce. If you saw my review of Power Rangers Turbo, you would know that I've devised a scale to rate all of these Power Rangers seasons, and that delivers us into our first point, the theme song. This is tough because the Super Megaforce theme, it's kind of catchy, and when they bring it in during the fight scenes, I don't hate it, but I wanted to skip it every time because I absolutely hate how they all say their names. So I wanted to give it no points, but I think just middle of the road is probably the safest bet for the theme song. Next up we have the story, which again, like the theme, is complicated because you have some great moments. Legendary battle, even though it's flawed, it's cool. The Silver Ranger arc is the best in the show. The stuff with Vrak at the end and the Prince Vicar, right before he's defeated, it's really good. But the first 4 episodes of this show, no more than that, yeah, 4. The first 4 episodes are so boring, so miserable. I had to remind myself that some good stuff was coming to get through it. But then you have things like Jaden coming back is okay. The Casey episode I actually really liked. That goes right into the Silver Ranger arc, which is fantastic. And then he just isn't there for a couple episodes, which makes no sense. And then around 13, 14, it starts to drag a little bit. And then the end, it picks up and it almost delivers, but the legendary battle, like I said, is just a little flawed. So overall, I think story, perfectly middle, half points for that. That leads us into one of the weakest points of Super Megaforce, the villains. Man, I don't even know where to start with this one, because for 14 episodes, Vicar is just pathetic. I don't like the whiny rich boy thing he's got going for him. And then his last episode, he's actually kind of menacing and cool, and then he's defeated and he's gone. And then Vrak comes back, and he's really cool and menacing, and somehow he's defeated, and then the Emperor is just a waste of a character. He says, "You can't defeat me," and then is defeated 3 seconds later. And then all the supporting villains, they're not really memorable. I mean, Lavier is only memorable because she fell in love with the Black Ranger. What was that? So barely points for villains. They had some cool moments, like the end with Vicar and the setup of Vrak, but that leads us into the Rangers themselves, and oh boy, do I have some things to say. Troy and Noah, probably the 2 worst Rangers I've ever seen in my life. Troy's acting is abysmal, and Noah's isn't much better. They have no personality or character growth. Troy's just a loner who becomes a Power Ranger, and that's his whole shtick. And Noah's a smart guy who becomes a Power Ranger, and every time there's a problem, he has to solve it on his own. Never really changes. Gia, she's fine. There's nothing bad about her, and there's nothing great either. She has no focus. All the other Rangers get an episode or 2 that kind of, give you something, and she just is there. But unlike the other 2 I mentioned before, she's an okay character. Then we go into Jake, who I didn't think I was going to like, and then I came around. He's actually just a guy. I know that sounds silly, but he's just the most human member of the team. He cracks jokes, he doesn't really take things seriously, but when he's needed, he can be depended on. Then you have Emma, who surprised me. I didn't think I was gonna like her, but she was actually one of the most like endearing characters. I love how like she's the one you can like always depend on. I said Jake, in a tough spot, he can be depended on, but without a tough spot, just in general, you can always depend on Emma. I very much liked her character, seeing her interactions with all the other Rangers, especially Orion. Speaking of which, I don't really know what the Ranger community thinks about Orion, but I think he's arguably one of my favorite Power Rangers ever. He's the best character in the show. He steals every scene he's in. I love this guy. I wish he was in like the whole series, but he's barely in the show. He's in like his 3-episode arc in the beginning. He's kind of like shoved to the sidelines. They bring him back to send him off, and then he just like kind of comes back in for the final battle. So they don't give him a lot to do, but he has like one of the best backstories ever, and something I like truly love about this character is he's lost everything, but he doesn't really want to go out for revenge. Instead, he wants to go out and make sure this doesn't happen to other planets, which, I mean, that's like the Magna Defender, but mature. So Orion full points, Emma mostly full points, Jake right around the middle, Gia and then Noah and Troy no points. The Megazords for this show, they're not great. The only one that gets like any screen time is the Sky Ship. The other Ranger Zords, like, they don't matter. They just show up to make the Megazord. The Megazord's stupid with the cannon and the pirate hat. Q-Rex is kind of cool. And then the legendary Zords, like, they don't do anything. Red Lion's cool for like the 1 episode he's in, and then he gets blown up. So no points for the Zords, which is kind of sad in the anniversary season. And then finally we have the supporting cast, which is tough because Gosei kind of sucks. Tensu's there. But there's so many like characters in this season that I like so much. I mentioned Jaden before. He pops in for an episode and he's okay. Casey like steals the show when he's on. I absolutely love that episode. All the legendary Rangers, they get like cool little moments, but I just don't think the bad outweighs the good. So I'm going to give the supporting cast full points, even though Gosei kind of knocks it down. So after all that, what do I think of Super Megaforce? It's complicated because there are things that it gets so right, like the Silver Ranger and Jake and Emma, and the idea of bringing back all these legendary Rangers. But then it just I don't know if the budget constraints, just like, well, we want to do this, but let's do it at this level instead of up here, and it shows. I don't know why they picked the actor to play Troy. He is abysmal. Noah's not much better. The legendary battle could have been better, but overall, it's a watchable season. It's not the best. It's nowhere near the best, and it could be the worst. I don't know. I've not reviewed enough seasons to let you know where this is gonna sit with the others. But once I got through the first 4 episodes, it was an enjoyable watch. And then I had to get through like 11 to 14. That was a little rough. And then the end was satisfying enough. Overall, I'm going to give Power Rangers Super Megaforce a 4.3. What did you think of Power Rangers Super Megaforce? Do you think it's the worst? Do you think it's the best? Or do you think it's just somewhere in the middle? Let me know down in the comments below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you for the next video.